fantastic meeting, sales meeting with Patrick.
Yep.
It was probably what, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So for you, it doesn't have to be last meeting. It could be the access you have, the proximity to Patrick, the conversations you're able to have, the team, your manager, Taylor, she's unstoppable. We know this. What would you want, or what could you share to someone who's not in-house alongside Patrick, learning directly from him, receiving direct feedback? Patrick, if you were in my position, what would you? If you were in my position, how would you? What, when you get answers to those questions, we're able to process in real time. So my question to you, give me a scenario, give me something that you could teach me about just being that close to Patrick, or maybe something in sales that just was a good nugget that you would want to share.
Yeah, that's a great question. And Patrick doesn't talk too much about sales and sales content, even though he built his company from 50 agents to 50,000 sales agents. But one of the gold lines that he shared a week and a half ago is he said, hey, folks, they end up, sometimes hitting really, really big numbers. But he's like, one thing is momentum is a very, very jealous thing. And what he meant by that is you'll see these reps will have big, big months out of the blue, but their identity isn't at the level of their numbers. They're not learning, they're not growing, they're not progressing. So they may not be hitting the same numbers. So he shared with us that. He's like, momentum is a very jealous thing. So you need to hold on to it. I think that was a big, big thing for me, because I'm like, I need to keep learning, bro. I need to keep reading these books because I want the momentum to continue.
Momentum is a jealous spirit.
Yes.
Momentum is a jealous spirit. It's the hardest thing to build in business. I made a video on this, actually. Momentum is the hardest thing to build in business. Whether it comes to identity of a person, whether it comes to the identity of a leader, the culture, the dynamic, how well you're feeding into it. Is it a temporary bit of momentum? Was it something that was artificially created? Is it something that was genuine blood, sweat, and tears? What was the depth of the momentum? Will depend on how long, one, it stays, or two, you're able to ride it. In sales, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. It's normal. I almost said it's normal. You heard that. I almost said it's normal. That's not normal. What's normal is if we could keep that steady curve, if we can get to that steady point. Whether it comes to really good months, whether it comes to months where we might not be fishing, it might not be hunting. One of my biggest takeaways from Patrick in that meeting was a very, 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 you're in that meeting with Patrick, you qualify. You're not in that meeting just because you're part of Valuetainment, right? We qualify to be in that room. Very, very honored to be in that room, right? So the last meeting that we had a conversation about was we need to have hunters. So if you look at PHP, from 66 agents, you just mentioned it, you said 50, 66 agents to 50,000 agents. Patrick said, guys, we're going to 500,000 agents. The company has never once bought any leads. You believe it?
That's wild, actually.
The company's never once bought any leads. There's many people, there's someone in particular we can name that has mentioned to potentially do it as a good opportunity to grow the business. Patrick said, listen, I'm not interested. That's just not the way it's going to work. There's a couple reasons why Patrick didn't want to do that, but I'll give you 3 big takeaways. One, when the market has its good time, when the market's good, it's great. When the market's not so good, guess what? If you're relying on leads or relying on a company providing it for you, if they're having a bad month, they're having a bad month of sourcing, guess what? Your business is directly affected. Why is my business going to be affected by someone else's poor decisions? That's one. 2, I need to train my guys to be hunters. Because if they're being fed, it's like the seagulls at the harbor. Patrick shared this. You have the seagulls at the harbor, they just hang out all day. Why not? Maybe the tarpon in the water. Why? Because they know they're going to drop the carcasses in the water. They're going to drop some of the fish remains in the water. They're going to be fed. They rely on it. Guess what? That a storm comes, the seagulls aren't going to be fed, the tarpon aren't going to be fed. Odds are if there's a storm coming, they're not being fed anyways. They left. But you know what I'm saying. Not going to buy the leads. Need to teach my people to be hunters, but also it's the culture we breed. We're not making this easy. It's a business. We're solving for mission. We're solving for vision. Why are we going to rely on someone else to help us on that mission where they're working along? It just does, that's not the relationship we wanted to build. So Patrick said, guys, something we're focusing on is to be intentional, be the hunter. Guys, if you're hungry and you're solving what we want to do, the mission statement of Valuetainment: to enlighten, entertain, and empower current and future leaders around the world. Right? One of the biggest things I'll share is every conversation you and I have, we're preventing that divorce. We're preventing that hiccup in business. We're preventing that employee from leaving. We're making that entrepreneur's pillow just that much softer at night. So for us to have those conversations, they need to be genuine. They can't just be fed to us. So Patrick is now training us to be just a little bit more of a hunter. All of our business is referral. But what can we do to just do a little bit more? It's one of the biggest takeaways.
I love that. I love that. That was great. Regret time. Always over.
No, good.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one of the front of the Transformers.
Okay.